we can get my presentation. Thank you. But I don't see it on the screen. We'll do it each way now. I'll look at the screen. I won't touch anything. You want me to use the clicker? He's getting irritated. Keynote clicker, not the PowerPoint clicker. I don't know why this is up here if we're not supposed to touch it. Just saying. Now you know why I'm the mother. Okay. It's remarkable to me to think that designers were faced with a time where we weren't expected to design for all people as equal. But when I started my career, that was the case. And in fact, I would say that fact defined my career in as much as I refused to embrace it. And when I was once in a meeting at Raymond Loewy's New York office and meekly raised my little girl hand because I was in a room of crazy testosterone, and I say that lovingly, I asked if we couldn't put a feature on a refrigerator that would make it easier for someone with arthritis to open the door. I was thinking about my grandfather. I loved my grandfather. And when he couldn't open the refrigerator door, his world was redefined by what he couldn't do, but what he should have been able to do. And that's called design. And so that little meek hand went in the air, and I said, couldn't we do this for those people? And the bosses told me, Patty Ann, we don't design for those people. We design for regular people, normal people, real people. I was pissed. I'm Irish, don't mess with the Irish. And so my whole life's been about designing for everybody with equity. From the very moment that we come to this planet to the moment we take our last breath, life is about the presence or the absence of design. A designed life can be a very good life, or it can be a horrible life if the interfaces are wrong or incomplete, or if we weren't considered in the meeting, in that office, in New York, or anywhere in the world where we work. So design for all. And even more so, design with enthusiasm. Because when you think about design for babies and children, everyone gets so excited when the new baby's on the way. We fix the room, we buy all sorts of kit. Everyone's so looking forward to this new life. But where is the same enthusiasm for grandfather? Where is the same enthusiasm as we go through the lifespan? Now, when I was 85, I was 26. And no, I am not drunk. I became 85 because one day I realized that since I wasn't being allowed to design for those disenfranchised consumers, something had to be done. And I went to Mr. Loewy, and I told him the story that if I could be an elder, perhaps I could then speak about the needs of older people everywhere as consumers. And so I became 85. For nearly 4 years, I traveled throughout the US and Canada in various guises, 9 different women from very poor to very wealthy, and I did what any of us would do. I took every mode of transportation. I went shopping with the girls. I ate meals. I went to movies and the theater. I was mugged. I was beaten by a gang. I was shortchanged by store clerks that could see my eyes didn't see clearly because I wasn't just in costume, I was prosthetically altered. So all the things I was doing at the age of 26 had been changed. And I was, in fact, living in the shell of what might be. And that not only helped me to understand that interface of age, but better still, it was an indictment on how other people viewed me and treated me. Was it with the great kindness of taxi drivers everywhere that refused to take my money? That's fine, that's okay, don't worry about it. Or was it the gang of boys who beat me, laughing, punching, kicking, and leaving me at a point in later life when I married and wanted to start a family, only to find that that day they robbed me of the opportunity to bear a child? And would I change a moment of it? Never. Because this experience taught me so much and has served as the cornerstone for all of us to be more understanding and aware of the importance of design in every life. And so we have the agenda of our time, inclusivity, where we're looking at a world where together we're made stronger. Like any chain, it's only as strong as the weakest link. And if there is any place on the planet where people feel disenfranchised or forgotten, we have issues. I cannot believe that we would have ISIS today if every young man felt he had a role in the world, if he felt he was important, if he felt he was seen. And now we extend that also to the women who are becoming terrorists. That's how terrified they are. They feel they have no place, and so they attack those of us who do. If ever there has been a time for design, it is now. And I agree so wholeheartedly that language is everything. It's in what we say that we either defy or embrace the needs of all people as equal. I never talk about a handicap or a disability. I have never designed for what a person can't do. And so the focus is always on their capacity, their ability. What are they able to manage? And then, with that view, how can we make the situation better? Imagine in China, this mother taking care of this son his entire life, unable to do for himself. And then ask yourself, what happens when she dies? What happens to him? What happens to you? What happens to me? When our life support is taken from us, whether it's a family, a community, a product, or a service, it's all a matter of design. So capacity is our cornerstone. And when we work with capacity, when we in fact embrace and make a person's capacity all that it can be, we've done the first steps of great design. Making things usable and focusing on the use is certainly the battle cry for business today. Now, I started my career also as a bit of a dominatrix. I found it really a lot of fun dressing up executives and politicians and putting them through the paces of trying to go out into the world with a list of things to do and seeing them fail miserably, but then to see them converted to say, my store is rubbish. No one can shop in this place. There's something wrong with my car. There's something wrong with my product. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Ta-da! It's time for the designers. And it was just that easy. And you still see today lots of age suits and things of that nature. There is nothing better than making the person at the top live like you do to get a convert. And those conversions are essential. Every time we do a big project like transportation, we insist that it be the disenfranchised consumers that rule. We make everything from the perspective of the what if I couldn't see, what if I couldn't hear, what if I couldn't move about with 2 feet, but needed a conveyance, what if? And then we begin the design. So all of us must re-vision the future today, because I don't think any of us would knowingly or deliberately say to this little boy, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do sports, you're missing a leg. Really, get serious. But rather, we see this as the opportunity to let a child play. And what an opportunity when this child's coupled with an adult that he loves, who's living the same life. And there's no fear, there's just fun. The hardest work I do today is working with NATO and working with nations all over the world with the results of the lunacy of war, and having to go to the bedside of a soldier whose body's been ravaged by the insanity of hate and let them know it's not going to be the same, but we're going to really make it better. And today we have tools that we never had in past wars. And when you look closely at this Marine's bed, you see what they are. Those 2 magic pieces of technology give all of us hope, no matter how difficult each day or our life. And with this technology, we have the opportunity to design for capacity. After all, it's how well we can care for ourselves that really matters. Because if you're unable to care for yourself, you can't care for anyone else. We have 5 generations on the planet living simultaneously today. Elders have never been more important, especially in terms of childcare, and more essential in terms of quality of life. And it's together that we're made better because of our experiences and what we can learn and share. We might not be capable of driving a car any longer, but soon we'll have a car that does that for us. I like to tease students by asking them, what do I drive? And after they've gone through the list from Tesla and Lamborghini and Prius, I finally smile and say, why would I drive? I have a driver. We have to re-envision, we have to revision the future and imagine the what-ifs. And in the course of my career, I've experienced the digital divide. We used to draw, now we have all sorts of computer-aided design. We used to make our models, now we have machines. And I think all of this is good and great. But those of us born to it and those of us who've had to adapt to it can be 2 very different consumers, and we have to be mindful of them. I'm sorry to say that far too many of my clients in California have felt that the business plan that makes the most sense is to wait for the greatest generation to die off so they don't have to worry about dealing with them. And I find that appalling and bad business. Because there are a lot of these fellows around, fellow road warriors like this guy that I met in Chicago, multitasking, answering emails, drinking his gin and tonic as he was intended, having a little nosh, doing just what any of us do with the same tools, but maybe not in the same way. So if there is a coin of commerce and success for us to focus on, let it be this: to recognize that there are 2 camps, quite frankly. The people who make the decisions and make the payments, the purchasers, and the people who are benefited by those purchases. Because none of us gets out of this life alone. We are, in fact, a team. And it's essential that we design not just for the end user, but for the whole complement of the community that each of us lives within, culturally and individually. That user oftentimes is the person we think we've focused our efforts on, and they're not even the person who's making the purchase. They are the person who benefits from the love, the attention, the desire, the belief, the dreams that we all share, the importance of each and every snowflake, and no two of us alike. My empathic experience defines my career, but I think it also defines every day of our lives, because without the empathy of others, we cannot exist, and we certainly cannot coexist. The importance of having a long life and a high-quality life will be based on a designed life that is focused on understanding and action. And as we keep moving forward with more and more pervasive opportunities, more and more opportunities of science and design, we do have to understand the underlying mandate that with all this high tech, we still want high touch and low tech and low touch. And there's simply nothing better than mommy's hug and a kiss on your forehead when you don't feel well. It's all about autonomy. It's all about us. It's all about you and me. Now, as a boomer, I loved the Jetsons. And I was promised that Rosie the robot would be my best buddy, my best friend, my girl. I could tell her anything and she would take care of me, because that was the future. And I appreciate Pepper, but I don't want a marshmallow man. I have something quite different in mind for my robot, and I'm not moving until I get him. I want Johnny Depp. I want Johnny Depp as Captain Jack because he looks like a fun date. He won't be touching my booze because he's a robot. And he won't be stinky because he's a robot. But he'll be a heck of a lot of fun as we sit by the pool and I get to say things like, "Captain, this glass is empty." And with that autonomy comes the promise of independence. And not that we want to live on an island, but rather we want to lead the life that we've destined to lead. And so as a gerontologist, when I tell you, stop worrying about age as a variable and a factor, try to believe me when I say I think it's quite true. The numbers tell us very little. Now, you may have heard we're in an election cycle in the States. And if one person gets elected, he will be the oldest person to take office as president at the age of 75. Big whoop. I'm not impressed. Age doesn't tell us anything about an individual. Of course, yes, if an infant is told to drive the car, that's not going to happen. But age really is not the important factor that many businesses have made out for it to be. And as we look further down the food chain, I just can't. May I come to Sweden, please? Please. I'm a very good cook and I do windows. What the hell? I just don't understand how this happened. So, everyone say their rosary along with me. Maybe it's time for a little estrogen. It couldn't possibly get worse. Let's remember that the mandate is lifestyle. It's really all any of us as consumers are concerned about. Having our dreams and wishes, wants and needs met within our capabilities, our capacity, our means, and having the lifestyle that we wish to lead. So whether you live in a grand house or you're existing and managing day by day, you still are desirous of that autonomy, independence, and quality that fuels us all, This is a very holistic process, very systemic in nature, and very important to each of us, so that in any one circumstance and situation, we can lead the day we wish to lead. All of us have expectations in this life. And in leaving you, I'd like to share actually a letter that I received from a nurse who was working in a skilled care center in England. And after my research was publicized, she sent me a copy of what was found in the belongings of a woman who lived in this nursing home, a very, very elderly woman. And when the nurses read what she left for them after her death, they had to rethink the design of their day. She asked, most poignantly, "What do you see, nurses? What do you see? Are you thinking when you look at me, just another crabby old woman, not very wise, uncertain of habit with faraway eyes, who dribbles her food and makes no reply when you say in a loud voice, 'I do wish you'd try', who seems not to notice the things that you do and forever is losing her stocking or shoe, who, uninterested or not, lets you do as you will with bathing and feeding this long, long day to fill. Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you see? Well, then open your eyes, because you're not looking at me. I'll tell you who I am as I sit here so still, as I do at your bidding, as I eat at your will. I'm a child of 10, with a father and mother and brothers and sisters, and we love one another. I'm a girl of 16, and I have wings on my feet, dreaming that soon now my lover I'll meet. And a bride at 20, my heart gives a leap, remembering the vows I promised to keep. And at 25, now I have young of my own, and they need me to build a secure and happy home. A woman of 30, my young now grows so fast, bound to each other with ties that should last. And at 40, my young sons have grown and are gone, but my man's beside me to see I don't mourn. And at 50, once more, we have babies playing at our knee, and again we know children, my loved one and me. Dark days are upon me. My husband is dead. I look to the future. I shudder with dread. For my young are all rearing, young of their own, and I think of the years and all the love that I've known. But they call me an old woman now, and nature can be cruel. Seems it's her jest to just make this age look like a fool. The body can crumble, grace and vigor depart, and now there's a stone where once I know I had a heart. But inside this old carcass, a girl still dwells, and now and again even my battered heart swells, and I remember the joys and I remember the pain, but I'm loving and living my life all over again. I think of the years, all too few gone by so fast, and I accept the stark fact that nothing is made to last. So open your eyes, open and see. Not a crabby old woman. If you look closer, you'll see me. Thank you very much.